this poem and sent it down to me after he heard that there was an accident with a chainsaw once when I was doing a bit of tree pruning. Only on my finger, it was nothing serious at all. But me also being a butcher in years past, he thought this poem was quite appropriate. And it tells a story a bit about out in the bush how you patch things up any way you can, and that not necessarily just fences or something, there might be injuries to people. Anyway, this poem is called The Inside Story. I hope your lunches have settled. I was reading in the paper that was wrapped around the cheese how the miracles of medicine have become realities. How women wanting babies can obtain them by the dozen from the local doctor's cauldron, all conveniently frozen. But I must admit, this notion leaves me feeling rather cold. Well, I much prefer the methods that we used in days of old. But the skillful city surgeon and his art must surely pale when you see a stockman operate out in the post and rail, stitching dog-ravaged withers, using mulga sticks for brakes, where kids still have their ears locked to survive the bites of snakes. Shotgun dentists, cast royal cures, I guess I've heard a lot. And the drastic use of stock knives to control the barking rot. Well, I mentioned this very fact last summer on the phone to a mate of mine, Ken Cooper. He was working out near Scone, and he told me of an accident. The solemn truth, he swore, and in the land of cornstalk promises, like that matters anymore. See, Ken comes from Queensland, and that's good enough for me. And I reckon he's the Barnard of the outback surgery. See, Ken, he was working on a fence line with a mate called Slog Around. Now, Ken was running out the wire while old Slog was cutting down. A mob of sheep stood waiting for the foliage to land when a crooked branch jumped back and knocked the chainsaw from Slog's hand. My God, it was a shocking sight. Would turn your limbs to jelly. That whirring blade came down right across the bushman's belly. And before Ken could grab the chainsaw and get the thing controlled, his mate, his sole companion, was completely disemboweled. And it wasn't just a matter of where this or that part fits. His whole internal mechanism was chopped in little bits. Now, Ken used to be a butcher when he worked the Queensland scene, a kind of reverse surgeon, if you follow what I mean. And he knew it was only seconds before Slogger breathed his last. So he had to do some surgery, and do it bloody fast. So he grabbed a ewe around the throat and slit its netherite. He hauled the steaming entrails out and shoved them up inside. Now he lacked finesse and finish, but was long on common sense, and he drew the gash together with some staples from the fence. And then I forgot the next one. He drew the gash together with some staples from the fence. And joining veins and sinews, well, that's quite easy if you know a bit of gum tree gumption and the twigs from cob and co. And what's the matter in a stomach? Upside down or front to back? Guts are guts. They gain no glory from the neatness of the pack. Anyhow, we did some plumbing, so the inlet soon aligned, and the outlet quickly took its place with stitches from behind. He used a roll of tie wire, but he must have hit the mark, because old Slogger picked the crowbar up and went to strip some bark. So Ken retrieved the chainsaw and wiped the blood away, they stood another 20 posts before the close of day. Now for weeks, I sat and wondered if this tale was really true. See, I've heard a lot of stories of what lonely bushmen do. So I rang Ken up the other day, and I mentioned on the side, look, I suppose in this old slogger, I presume the poor bloke died. What? You couldn't kill old slog, said Ken. He's as tough as teak. He's out fencing on your river. And he had a lamb last week.